Hey, Bikeaholics, make sure you are prepared. Get hooked up with our Cruise Tools RTH3 roll-up toolkit for Harley-Davidson and American-made V-twin motorcycles. Don't get stranded or have your bike towed over a small repair, guys. This kit has everything you need for a roadside emergency repair, tested and used right here by the Law Abiding Biker crew, and it has our stamp of approval. Get it already. That's the Cruise Tools RTH3 roll-up toolkit. We brought it right to the Law Abiding Biker store for you, lawabidingbiker.com/store. Nothing but 5-star reviews. Big Daddy Kane and Grunt, who run the Law Abiding Biker store, have them in stock, ready to ship to you right now.
Hey, Ryan, this is Eric calling from Florida. Just a quick question. I know I've kind of covered oils in your previous podcast. I just wanted to ask a quick question. Maybe you don't have to spend too much time. Just trying to see if you ever dealt with the 2060 weight. I was getting ready to buy some AMSOIL, and a guy brought up the fact that there's a red line option that's 2060 weight. Being in Florida and, constantly you're in the 90s, 90, I would say 95, 96, especially in Florida. I just wonder if you have any experience or if you heard anybody had experience, good, bad, or, don't notice a difference as far as those oils or those type of oils before I purchase it. So if you can respond back, that'd be awesome, man. Keep it up. Appreciate it.
Hey, Bikeaholics, Zero 3D has a wide variety of innovative products for your Harley-Davidson motorcycle. Affordable chrome lighting and comfort products. These guys ride. They support riders just like you. Head over. We got Zero 3D stuff, guys, in our store. lawabidingbiker.com/store. We'll get you hooked up. Oscar in the house. Yo, yo, yo. We're going to answer that voicemail you guys just heard. And that's the reason, because I got Oscar. Hi. In the house, ready. Just chomping at the bit over there to answer an oil question, dude.
I don't remember all my lines, though, because, we have certain lines.
Right. Did you practice your lines?
No, I practiced my turns in the parking lot.
We prepared nothing for this episode, but it's going to be awesome.
We're jumping in.
It's going to be awesome. You know how he left that voicemail? lawabidingbiker.com/contact is how he did that. He left a voicemail right from his computer, built-in microphones for free from Florida. How about that, dude?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Welcome back, Bikeaholics. This is the podcast for the motorcycle majority, the big MM. That's right, also known as the 99%ers. That's right.
Damn it, I forgot.
Large and in charge of the motorcycle scene more than any time in history, guys. That's right. By listening to this very podcast, you are part, whether you like it or not, you are part of what we call the biker revolution. Jump on board or get the hell out of the way, Oscar. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there we go, guys. Welcome back. Ryan Erlacher here, your host of the Law Abiding Biker podcast and your
high-tech redneck.
Oh, my God, Oscar.
Dude, look.
You're rusty. You're already sweating, dude.
No, it's where that bee broke itself off in my arm.
Dude, that was crazy.
And it's swelling still.
We were riding back. Let me actually, before I get off track, which we always do, we're good at getting off track, dude.
Yeah.
So we got a voicemail we're going to answer. Y'all heard that. We played it right up front there, and I'm excited for that answer. And this episode is going to be the main topic, so you guys can get ready, is all about Advanced Police Motors School. Now, if I look up on the website, me and Oscar it was a 2-part series. Oh, dang it. Are you serious? Let me see. I got the...
there's medication for that.
For what?
Your internal error.
Right, I know, dude. I know. I got to go to... Do I have it? I have our website up. The main topic will be Advanced Police Motor School. As I'm looking this up on our website, Oscar and I, are both police motors officers. That's our full-time job. And then we do law-abiding biker media here on the side. And why is it there? And so we've both been through basic, but we're lucky because we get to, I can only do one thing at a time here.
We get to go to advanced.
Yeah. So we got to go to advanced. So there we go. So we did police officer motorcycle school and training inside look part 1 of 2 and 2 of 2. Those are out podcasts. That would be episode 150, lawabidingbiker.com/150 and then /151.
Wow.
We did a really comprehensive, and we had a lot of fun doing that episode. And so I would encourage you guys to listen to those 2 episodes first. because we're going to dive into Advanced, which is the next level of police motor school here in our neck of the woods. It's not like that everywhere, but we're going to give you kind of an inside look at that. And I actually did a YouTube video on that.
Ooh, that's right.
I'll have to look that up. If you go, I'm having a little problem today, technical problem.
You are struggling.
Well, I can't close my browser and frickin'.
Oh, shit. I hate it when that happens.
Yeah,
when my browser gets stuck open and stuff gets in there, and then sometimes it gets inflamed or you get an infection, and then...
Dude, straight up. Oh, you know what I can do? Hang on. Yeah, I'll do it in a second. I'll look at my laptop. But anyways, if I don't remember, just go to the YouTube channel or our website and look up Police Advanced Motor School. It's very popular. I did an inside look video of that and kind of what it entails. So that'll be the main topic. With that said, Oscar, I think you should just go ahead and answer our voicemail question that we played up front. And it was about, you guys heard it, it was about viscosities of oil in Florida, running at 90-degree temps, and something about heat, red line stuff. So go ahead.
And this has come up from people in Arizona, in Texas, in Vegas. So Eric essentially said, or the theory is that really high heat makes oil thin out. And so if you ride in really high heat, your bike runs even hotter. And so you should use a heavier viscosity. And I'm here to tell you that's not true. The 2050 we ride, in fact, today's not too hot, but I've ridden in temps as high as 110. I practice, our cone course stuff on my Harley in the high 90s. And that actually creates a little more heat because you're in a constant state of slipping the clutch. And so the 2050, essentially, I need to get some clarification. I'm going to probably email Amsoil at some point here soon and ask them. But the way viscosity works is as the oil gets hotter, the viscosity index improvers, the molecules get longer. So the oil weight increases and to a certain point, and it just holds that as it gets hotter. So I've run the used oil analysis on the Amsoil 2050 in all kinds of crazy temperatures, and it always stays within spec for a 2050, and it doesn't oxidize. So essentially, the biggest problem with going to a heavier weight is if it starts to oxidize, it gets even heavier. So in high heat, the biggest threat is not the oil thinning out, which seems common because when you heat oil up and you pour it out, it seems really thin. Well, the opposite is true. Oil thickens as it gets colder. So when it's really hot, that's actually the viscosity it's supposed to be.
Yeah, interesting. See, that always throws me for a loop, and you've reminded me of that before because we've answered this question before. We have, kind of in a different way. So it actually, you think it thins out, and I think I asked you that before. But when you drain it, it's thinner, but it's actually
that's what it's supposed to be.
I know it's supposed to be at right. It's supposed to thin out, and that's where its operating temperature is, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
cool.
If you think about it backwards, that oil thickens as it gets colder. That makes more sense. And that's when in Arctic temperatures, guys use a zero weight because the oil needs to flow under cold temperatures.
Right.
The heat, even a 40 weight would probably be fine in the extreme heat. But the 2050 is totally acceptable. If you use a 2060, and people do, and the bike doesn't blow up, but if you get some oxidation and it gets to a 2070, which can happen, then you run into issues where you start creating internal heat because the oil pump is working harder to push 70 weight oil over 50 weight oil.
Yep.
And if that continues and it continues to oxidize, the viscosity it runs away. So red line's a good oil. I mean, lots of people use it. I've never used it, but I
don't think it's necessary personally, but I'll give you my take. But
2050 is solid for every. I mean, I've ridden with the 2050 down to 28 degrees and as high as 110.
I've ridden it down to it at 10 degrees.
Yeah. So
I used to ride home from work all the time when I was riding my personal bike down at 15 degrees before, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this. You're an expert, much more than me, on oils. If you guys are new to this podcast, you really absolutely, if you're interested in oil and want to dive in really deep into what we're talking about right here, you need to search our website. Upper right-hand corner, there's a bar there. Search oils, search Amsoil, search used oil analysis. Me and Oscar have beat this horse. And it's good, though, because I like the constant questions, and it's good. But we've got a lot of evergreen content out there when it comes to, like I say, oil and Amsoil. especially we did a whole episode on AMSOIL and the viscosities, and Oscar breaks that down in those episodes.
There's a lot of myths out there. But there is a lot of myths, and
we beat that horse to death. Yes, I know.
People hear stuff, or you read something on a forum, and then you're like, "But I heard this," and then it starts. And I get it. I totally get it. But you don't have to overthink it too much,
right? And so search our website for that. And then also, I'll just say, I'll tell you right now. I don't care if it's in the 90s, and things like that. Oscar alluded to it. I run my police motors bike daily. I rode for it was 107 for a week and a half straight here, every day out on the pavement running those bikes. I even trained in that weather for hours. The bikes, we put these bikes through the most extreme conditions you can't understand.
Yeah.
Idling and going through those courses. If you smelt some of these bikes, and these Harleys are just freaking hardy. We'll talk about that a little bit. Oscar rides a different one, but I'll just specifically speak to the Harley. And in those, I would like to run AMSOIL. I think you should go with AMSOIL, Eric. Definitely on that. But I can tell you that we run in our police bikes. We're not allowed to run. They want to run the stock because it's a government thing, and they want to run the stock Harley Sin 2050. So even in those conditions, we're running Harley Sin 2050, synthetic 2050, and we have zero problems. And again, yes, 107 degree on training courses, in parades, in funeral escorts, and we still only change it every 5,000, just like we're supposed to. And but I would, as my personal bike, I run AMSOIL, and Oscar is a AMSOIL dealer, so he's pretty familiar with that kind of stuff. So thank you, Eric, for that question from Florida. Again, lawabidingbiker.com/contact. This is how we create content for the show, guys.
Your questions, and they're awesome.
They are awesome.
Because if you have it, someone else does too.
Thank you.
And that's where I started.
Well said, dude. You're right. If somebody steps up, mans up, and just asks the question, there you can guess that many other people are wondering that question too. So just get brave, and it's not that big a deal. We're not going to make fun of you. We never have made fun of anybody forever in 4 years for asking a question that we played on this podcast. That's not what it's about. It's to answer the questions and help you guys out as the biker community, right?
And we learned that way too. I've learned a lot of stuff from someone asking me and going,
we had to look it up.
But I have to. Let me go research it a little bit, and then all of a sudden, I learned a bunch of new stuff, and I love it.
You're right, dude. You're right.
It's awesome.
It is absolutely, and we strongly suggest you become part of the community. We would like to get to know you better. We want you to be part of the biker revolution. We love our beloved patrons. I want to thank Benji Swindle of Cranberry, Pennsylvania, Sanil Zacharias of Yonkers, New York, Eric Swanson of Auburn, Washington, right in our very own state, right across the mountains. You want to thank these three?
Alan Bradford of Banner Elk, North Carolina. I might mess this one.
Chris Lagadinos,
Canton, Massachusetts, and Ben Simpson of Belle Fourche, South Dakota.
Nice. Lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patreon. You can pledge a certain amount per piece of content. No risk, because you can put a monthly cap on it, guys. It helps support us. You get benefits, guys, over there, depending on what level you sign up as. That includes t-shirt, stickers. Get into that private Facebook group.
That thing's huge. Yeah, that Facebook page is huge. There's all kinds of stuff that comes up every day. And guys get their questions answered.
Yep.
Seemingly within minutes.
It is. And that's a way we can connect with you closer. We have such a large audience now. That's the way we can get to personally know you in that private Facebook group. And then depending on what level up to, access to all of our premium for purchase videos for free up on request. Again, guys, the only way we move this biker revolution forward is those patrons. We have the store, we have some other things, but this patron thing is just blowing up, and it's a whole community within itself. We rode with patrons in Canada. We just actually, had a couple more patrons sign up today. And so it's just blowing up, guys. Get involved. All right, Oscar.
It's fun.
So we went to Advanced Police Motors School.
That was awesome.
Now we, fortunately, my department that I work for is very good about sending us to training and making sure that we are up to date on training. And so I'm hoping that they will send me each year to Advanced Police Motor School, at least every other year.
Well, I'm here to tell you that your immediate boss, pretty much whatever he tells my bosses, they do.
Nice.
And he told them they need to go to Advanced.
Yes.
Of course, my riding partner couldn't because his bike broke, but I got to go. So that worked out well.
Oscar and I, and again, if you go back and listen to the two police motorcycle basic school episode and everything about police motors, basically inside look, me and Oscar, just to rehash a little bit, we work for separate agencies, but I work in a city and he works in the county. And so because they got their motors unit up and running recently, they've been hanging with us quite a bit and vice versa. And we're training on the same courses and kind of going to some of the same school, which is really cool because me and Oscar get to sit here and we're buddies. We're in the Sworn Few Law Enforcement Motorcycle Club together. Then we are law-abiding biker, work for law-abiding biker here, do the podcast. And then also we get to spend time when we're working our full-time jobs, going to Advanced Motor School. And
love it.
And we're lucky. We're blessed. I truly believe that. And they've been up and running now. And so we went July 24th through 26th of this year. And again, I have the video over there. Very popular if you want to get some video shots of what that was all about. I'll also link to it in the show notes for you guys, lawabidingbiker.com / whatever episode number this ends up being.
Was that video is the cone? See, we need to label the courses because otherwise people listening to us will get confused.
Label what courses?
The 3 courses. So we did the infield.
Oh, yeah,
Advanced. Because that video, was that only the cone free high speed, or did you
it was all infield, everything. It had shots and it's just hopping. Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
So let's talk about this real quick. Let's talk about the facility that we went to. Do you want to start off with that?
Oh, it's huge.
It is.
Police training facility. Actually,
it's Washington State Patrol.
The academy uses that facility to train new people on high-speed emergency vehicle operation.
Correct.
So what was there? I don't know how many acres. It's huge. It's in the trees.
2.7 mile emergency vehicle drive course.
Cool. And what about the other one?
Which one?
There's 2. Oh, that's
a whole thing.
That's
connected.
We split them and made 2 different ones.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
They run together. We split them.
It's been so long since I was there in a car that I can't remember. So it's a huge driving course. It's pretty awesome. I mean, it's out there. The course is nice. There's no gravel. They told us there was the occasional coyote that runs through.
Yes.
For the most part, it's beautiful and it's up in the trees. It's a nice setting.
It is, and it's over by. If you guys aren't familiar, you all excuse me, from Washington, here in Washington State. It's over on the west side of the state. The Washington State Patrol Academy. A lot of local agencies and sheriff's office and stuff like that, and municipalities train on this course, even though. We're not with the Washington State Patrol. They let other agencies use that course, and it's by Shelton, Washington, which is north of Olympia, Washington. That's where the State Patrol Academy sits, and it is a very nationally recognized course.
Right.
We're so lucky, Oscar, because I don't think we think about it a lot.
No, we don't.
Because people and other police agencies throughout the nation, throughout the United States, do not have access to such a fine facility that we have, and it's right out our back door, about 3 hours away. And let me tell you a little bit, and I think you may know this. It's nationally recognized. It's been used by a lot of car companies. Go out and they film commercials on this track. It's been they film other things too because it's a closed track, and the State Patrol has allowed, of course, I'm sure for a fee, have had these car commercials out there. Quite a few car commercials have been on that track with that scenery. I know.
I did not know that. That's pretty cool.
That's how recognized it is.
Wow.
And the way this thing was engineered, guys, is if you know Shelton, it's all forest type trees. It rains a lot in Shelton.
It does.
But we went in a time they do get the summer months, couple months there where the rain lets up a little bit, and it is beautiful when it's not raining. But this course was originally designed to set this up for you. The course, the way it was designed was it was like misengineered on purpose.
Right.
So what I mean by that is when they build corners out there for you guys on the roads, there's things nowadays that are taken into account. They try not to do certain things like diminishing radius curves. Now there still are, because they can't always, depending on the terrain and rivers and cliffs. And so there are still roads with a lot of sketchy curves that are not perfectly.
What is a reducing radius or diminishing radius corner?
It just means it gets tighter as you go into it, but it's deceiving to the brain.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So you go into it
big,
and you get halfway around and you're like, oh, tight. And so they did this on this course on purpose, because those are the kinds of things where people get in trouble, and police officers in cars, and especially motorcycles, can get in trouble because you're used to the curves the way they're supposed to be. And these really mess with your brain when you go into them, like I said. Just the way that, and it's not just diminishing radius. They do other things where it's kind of a curve and then it straightens out and it's more of a curve. It's really weird.
That one that one baffled me the entire time.
It just messes with your brain.
It does. There was a little straight.
Catch you off guard quick.
Yeah, it does. I never rode that one well. That was the one corner. Forward or backwards, I couldn't get. I just couldn't. I never got the right line. But there's roads out there like that, and you get county roads that are, that do bizarre things because they're 50 years old.
Correct.
And technology's, come a long ways in road building. So wow.
So that's why it pushes you to your limit. It makes you really, really think. And the reason they set them up that way and engineered them that way is because it teaches you that setup and the way you go into it and the way you apex that specific corner is key to success in getting around that corner at a decent speed and not being all sketched out and on the brakes and that kind of thing. So
the point is we're getting somewhere in a hurry.
Correct.
Or we're chasing a car. And so because you can just go into a corner and kind of gently go slow through it and then accelerate out. But you lose a lot doing that.
Right.
So the whole point in doing this and this kind of training for cars and bikes is so that you can corner efficiently and be able to get out of the corner effectively and at a higher speed more safely than just driving your truck down the road to Safeway.
Correct. And, on a regular corner, the reason they did it too is you can get lazy on a regular corner and still be okay.
Right.
This makes you pay attention to exactly your technique and what you're doing. And that's what they're getting. They don't want you to go into a regular corner lazy. Right. They want you to do every corner right so that you don't so when you do enter that one that is screwed up a little bit, you don't get sketched.
Right.
That's my insight, Oscar.
Oh, wow. That was very
my beliefs
powerful.
on, why they do it.
That was worth at least a nickel. I'll give it a quarter. It's fine.
So that's the Washington State Patrol Academy track. And so that gives you an idea. So we took off, and here's the deal. Some of us wanted to ride, but we ended up trailering. We used a police vehicle, and then we borrowed a trailer actually from the local Harley-Davidson dealership here.
Cool that they let us do that.
They do. They always allow us, our department, to use their trailer, which is nice because we don't have our own. The reason we did that is just because if one bike, we have a problem, I guess, and now we don't have, then everybody's got to stop if we were to have a problem. Plus, our police bikes are so freaking downloaded with equipment. They got computers in the trunks and we've got rifles in the saddlebags and you can literally pack like a pair of underwear and socks. Now, we went to Spokane recently for escort school and we did take the bikes and it's 3 hours away.
Yeah.
They allowed us to do it that time. It's sketchy on what I could pack, dude. Luckily we wore a uniform but I took my computer out and I tried to gut a few other things. And there's no bag or luggage. It was literally grocery sacks, like the plastic Safeway bags with like socks and underwear and stuff.
That's awesome.
It's sketchy, dude.
No, that's called high living.
That is high living, dude.
It's
yeah.
fun.
And it's fine by me. We got to ride, and I'm all about that. But for this school, we had to take a bit more stuff and it would have just been sketchy. So yes, we did trailer them over there. And your partner couldn't go, right?
Yeah. No, yeah. He had, the bikes that we got from you guys, and they're fine, but they're old and they're beat up, right? And so no one could figure out. He had some kind of brake problem where
that's right.
My suspicion is the rear caliper sticking, and so it's going through brakes, and that happened again. He went through a set of pads in like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And he's a good rider.
Right.
I mean, he's not sloppy. He's better than I am, way better than I am in the cones and stuff. So I can't imagine he's dragging that brake all the time. There's no reason to. We use the fronts a lot.
Right.
I mean, I only use the rear anymore for cone course stuff and then like true emergency braking, but it just has to be, it's what, 7.
Seems
8.
like you would smell it if it was stuck, dude.
Yeah, I might, but it's behind you. And, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. I can't explain why else, but his rear brakes had a problem again. And when he took it in to get something else done right before the school, like 3 days or 4 days before the school, they said, hey, by the way, your brakes are shot again. And he's like, oh, great. And they had to order them. They couldn't get them in time. The local Honda shop didn't have them.
Yeah,
it happens.
Hopefully he gets to go next year.
I think he will. Oh yeah. Well, and hopefully he'll be on new bikes, but that was one of the reasons my boss wanted us to take the trailer is because of that. That happened at Motors when I was in Spokane and I broke a T. I didn't break it, but a T inside the motor, a coolant T split.
Right.
And it started leaking coolant.
Yeah.
So what do you do if you're in Shelton or near Shelton 3 hours away and something silly like that happens?
Right.
You have to have it towed or whatever. So I wanted to ride. I couldn't. So, metric versus Harley. I couldn't ride that thing to Shelton.
It's a Honda VT.
ST.
ST
1300. It would have taken me
ST 1300
all day. I would have to stop every 50 miles and stretch my legs because the riding position is
horrible.
It's not for me.
And if you guys have a Honda out there, that's cool, but I couldn't ride it far either.
Is that Greg? I think Greg Gaxel
he has one patron member.
Yeah, and I didn't really talk to him about it, but some guys ride those things thousands of miles. It's just not
kill me.
It does kill me. I mean, just riding across the county, it kills me. So I was not too brokenhearted that we trailered, but we did trailer. So, and we had the truck for it.
Yep.
And we borrowed the trailer. So it worked out
and
okay.
We took all our luggage and all our extra amenities, which was kind of nice.
That was kind of nice.
Again, guys, our personal bikes, we would never do that.
No.
When we ride, we just rode 1,500 miles to Reno and back in 4 days here. We did 1,500 miles. Yeah. So we ride, but we just don't have the space. The police bikes are all jammed with stuff. So to rehash, I'm before we get into the track and stuff here, I ride a Harley Electra Glide is what they are, guys. And then we'll give you some different experiences because Oscar right now, their department is riding the Honda ST 1300s. And you know what I took, Oscar? Straight up. I always do in my personal bike and my police bike because we on the police bikes make a lot of repairs. Our kickstand springs we're always dragging and we carry extra kickstand springs because we're always dragging them and they get screwed up and your kickstand starts falling down or the spring snaps. We do internal clutch adjustments all the time.
Internal clutch adjustment. Imagine that.
And so guys, yes, I have the video. I set it up front. You have to be prepared. I carry this in my police bike too. It is the best motorcycle and Harley emergency roadside toolkit. Cruise Tools Road Tech RTH3, guys. I have a video on it for you. If you just go over, I'll put it in the show notes. It's lawabidingbiker.com/best-harley-tool-kit. If you want to go directly there, it's in our store, lawabidingbiker.com/store, tried and tested right here. Again, we carry it on our police bikes and we carry it on our personal bikes. Yes, we use it. We trust it. It's a roll-up emergency toolkit. Has everything you need available in our store. Support us. And so, yes, I have that along because I know, and we did have to make a repair over there. A clutch adjustment on one of the bikes. So,
it's at Advanced?
Yes.
Oh, really?
We did.
Cool.
Yes. And we had to recently, like I said, coming up on some podcasts, guys, we're going to talk about our Reno trip. I'm not going to get in any more than that, but only to tell you that today, Oscar and I are sitting in the studio and just last night we got home from a 4-day, 1,500 mile trip to Reno and back. I'm not going to tell you all the details and why, but we rode hard. And while we were in Reno, yes, Oscar's clutch started slipping in fifth and sixth gear.
Yep.
And we curbed his bike and we have videos on this. Go to lawabidingbiker.com, search the YouTube channel or search our website in the search bar and look up Harley clutch adjustment. We have a video, very popular video. We'll show you exactly how to do that on the roadside, but you'll need a roadside toolkit to do that. And we would also add one addition to that toolkit is a angled 11/16-inch wrench instead of a regular, just so you can get up there. But watch the video and you'll understand what we're talking about.
Yep.
But we made a clutch adjustment, and bam,
Works like a
clutch
charm.
is working. It took us about 10-15 minutes.
Yep.
And we're back on the road with a complete clutch. That would have cost a lot of money in the dealership for them to get, even if they could get you in, and then waiting around and picking your butt. And I mean, what a pain in the ass for something we show you how to do for free.
Yeah.
And we did it. We don't just tell you guys about this stuff. We do it. We're doing the same stuff that we're teaching you guys. That's how we come up with the videos to teach you guys. So, all right, I just wanted to mention that new free video that was out. So, so you're riding the ST. Now we get over there, and we stayed at Legends Casino, right? Legends.
No, Little Creek.
Sorry, Legends. Yeah, that's the
Creek.
casino around us. Never mind.
Yeah.
Do not stay at Legends Casino. We stayed at Little Creek, which is, there's a reservation over there, Squawks, and I believe there's two reservations, but I believe that's the Squawkson tribe. But it's south of the academy. It's not a bad facility, and we rode our bikes. We untrailered them there and rode 2 each day. It was 2 days? It was actually, we went over for 3 days, but the course is actually 2 days. Yes.
The 25th and 26th.
So go with your little escapade on day one.
Geez.
So we get there. You're on the Honda ST.
I'm on the ST, and you get this sheet that says all the stuff you need, and some of it was kind of goofy, but they want you to go through the bike, and that might have been why my riding partner had his bike in the shop. But anyway, I had looked at my tires were fine. When I say fine, like the rear was coming up on some time, but probably 4 or 5 30 seconds. I mean, it was fine.
Yeah.
There was plenty of
30
tread.
seconds as the law, and you were well above that.
And I was above that. And so it had plenty of tread, and my brakes were fine, and the oil and stuff was all fine. So I get over there, and it's they had us split into groups, mostly all the Harley guys, and then they split the metric bikes up. There was like 60 of us, so 20 in a group.
It was about 60 of us. Yeah.
So I started riding this high-speed course, and I've never ridden a high-speed track on a motorcycle, let alone a metric bike. And so I
remember, guys, this is a track.
This is literally a track, but
where you can go high speed without the fear of other vehicles,
right? Dogs and gravel and
right. We can ride corners no problem out on the road because we go, like I said, side by side, 1,500 miles. But this is a different deal. This is high,
high speed. This is we're riding single file. So they take us through, kind of show us some of the lines or whatever, and then I just went to it and started messing around and kind of playing with it. And so then I kind of, there's everyone's real friendly, but I met these two guys from a county in a city way up north, and they were riding BMWs, and I happened to just start following them, and I couldn't keep up, but I was watching lines, and I was just having a great time. A lot of people were parked, and I'm like, I don't know why they're parked.
I agree, dude.
Someone else has bought the gas for me to do 5 million laps around
on a nationally recognized track, and I'm getting paid for it by the police department.
It was fantastic. So I kept going and going and going.
I was in seventh heaven.
Huh?
I was in seventh.
Oh, dude, I know.
That's why I put out a video on it right away. Because I was like, this is so exciting. I got to share this. Yeah.
So, which leads to my debacle. I couldn't stop. I was having so much fun. I couldn't stop. And then these guys were following me and giving me tips and some tips that really helped, which really improved my enjoyment. And so I was starting to scrape some things that I probably shouldn't have been, but I knew I was starting to pick up the pace.
Right.
And so
feeling more comfortable.
Oh, it was great. And so
getting her over in the lean.
So this is an hour that all this transpires, right? I ride for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And I pull over, and the guy from up north was following me, and he goes, yeah, you missed these lines, whatever. He goes, your tire looks low. I go, well, that's kind of weird, but all right. So they had a mechanic there with a full trailer with full mechanic tools. He could fix, probably half the stuff that came up. He could do tires. He had spare tires and all kinds of stuff.
He can do clutches and stuff like that.
All that stuff. So I took it over and was going to have him put some air in it. And he looked at the tire and he goes, hey, dude, you can't ride this anymore. I'm like, what? So I looked, and the left side of the tire was completely bald.
Yeah, dude.
And so long story,
kind of like my personal bike right now, my front one.
That front.
It's going weird. Yeah.
And on my front was going bald on the left side. And now granted, we're riding to the left mostly.
Right.
But that's how you ride on the road.
Right.
And so the only thing I can think of, and I end up, he was a super dude. This guy from, I don't remember what city he was from. He's a mechanic, not a cop, but he was an awesome guy called, Two Brothers in Bremerton.
Yeah.
And they got me in, he said, go to
Which
Bremerton.
is about an hour or 45 minutes north of Shelton. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. He said, go to Bremerton, they have a tire. And sure as shit, I went, it was beautiful. I looked on the map because I can't use a GPS, and picked my route. And I went up there and I rode right to it, and they got me right in and got a rear tire on. And so I was talking to the service writer who had worked for Everett, I think he said Honda. And he was talking about Everett Motors and how their Hondas and how they went through clutches and stuff. And so I was just BSing with him because he was a really neat kid. And we were talking motorcycles and stuff. And he says, so he goes back and he comes back and he goes, hey, dude, your front tire's about shot. And he goes, by the way, it's also from 2010. So,
these bikes sat a while, guys.
A while. And it was a brand new tire,
Right.
but it was not new. So the only thing I can think of is both the guy at the Honda shop in Bremerton. I give a lot of love to those guys. They were awesome. And then the mechanic at Motors, at the Advanced Motors class.
He was from City...
I think Linwood.
Linwood, yes. He was from Linwood. He was one of their mechanics, city
shop
mechanics,
yeah, okay.
and they let him come out here to help. And he helps everybody, not just them, which is cool.
Yeah, it was cool. So between the brand new pavement, like literally brand new pavement on the track, and the fact that my guess is as these tires age, the oils start to seep out completely. So it got dry, which means the track chewed them up faster. That's the only thing I can think of. And it makes sense, but we were doing it and it was all left-hand stuff. So that's the only thing I can think of why those tires. And so I rode to Bremerton, got a tire, made it back by right after lunch.
I had heard you had to leave. That's all. We were in different groups and I had heard that. I'm like, what the hell? I couldn't figure it out, dude.
Yeah.
Well, you had texted me or something.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a new tire. I'm like, did he get a nail in it or something? I don't understand.
It was totally random, but it worked out fine because the hour ride back, the guy from, I think is it Two Brothers Honda or Brothers Honda in Bremerton? He said, just, ride it and get it warm. You see guys doing all the squirrely crap, and I just rode it, and basically it dries the tire out a little bit and gets that surface oil out.
Right. So say that again. That's a good point. So Brothers Power Sports.
That's where I went.
Yeah,
and those guys were
I just looked it up.
awesome.
Brothers Power Sports,
yep,
Bremerton. Yep.
totally awesome. They totally got me right in. They put me ahead of everyone. He called and I told him what I was doing. And anyway, when the tire comes brand new,
yes,
that oil and the moisture in the tire makes it slick. So he just said to ride it, get some speed under it to create heat to dry that out a little bit. And I did. So by the time I got back, I got set up on so I'm going to call it the open course, the cone high speed course, in the infield. The infield was all slow cone stuff.
Yes. Which is what regular police motor school is a lot more,
yes, right,
not all, but most of it is lower speed course, really, really technical,
yes,
low speed chord pattern. And that's cone pattern. And that's what advanced motor school is for doing some of those drills, but mix it up in between with some high speed stuff. Now, let me tell you about tires. Since you're on tires, here's the debacle. So because I'm anal and I have the capabilities and I have the lift, the day before I put my police motors bike up on my lift here.
That's right.
I'm off duty. So I'm having a beer and I'm going over it, safety checking it, because I'm going to be riding this thing at 100 plus miles an hour on a track. And I'm like, no, I don't take that, so I'm like, I'm looking and, are you got to be shitting me. The last thing I do, and I wished it would have been the first thing I did, but it was the last thing I did, is spun the tires to look for any inconsistencies. And there's a big ass screw, dude. So that's why we left late.
Yeah,
remember?
right. Yep.
I called you. I had to rush into the dealership the next morning. As soon as they opened, we were supposed to leave early. And of course they're backed and they always are good to us, but I had no choice and I had to get a new tire.
Yeah.
And so it put us behind getting out. So we both had, and again, then I got over to the track and I actually ran my bike a little bit. Had to run some errands around town and stuff, but tried to do what you did. And because I'm like, I'm not going to take this brand new tire. And I go, even if I get over there, I can do some lower speed stuff and heat it up and work some of that stuff out. But that's a good thing to do, guys, before you just go balls to the wall on a brand new tire. Wear it in just a little bit. Be careful.
Well, and sport bike tires apparently are a little different than Harley tires. And I get this new tire. I'm at the Honda shop at Brothers, and the guy's like, hey, do you want this or whatever? And I'm like, look, we don't ride in a lot of rain. I don't need the Michelin Pilot. It's set up more for rain. I said the Battle Axe is fine.
We're East Siders.
It drops rain and that's it, and it just goes away. And so I go, how much mileage? Because I had just got a new Harley tire. And I got like 16,000
on your personal bike.
Yeah. And so these are good for maybe 6,000 miles.
Wow.
Is insane. And the guy from the mechanic up there at the track said the same thing. And my boss's boss, he said the same thing. He gets about 6,000 or 7,000 miles out of his BMW Sport touring tires. So amazing. So there must be something. They're softer. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. That's cool to know. Yeah.
But you see that more on sport bikes. The guys doing stuff to try and heat up the tires. Then when I get a new tire on my Harley, I just ride it.
Right.
I've never, but we're not cornering like that either.
Well,
so maybe that's what it is.
Actually, we were.
Well, we will. Yeah, then we were.
Yeah, actually, we were.
But out on the road, we're not so much.
Yeah, right.
So it's not as big of an issue. But cornering, dude, that was awesome. I never was able to, we're not able to play with cornering that sharply out on the road because there's all kinds of crap and you can't go down at 50 at a major intersection because one, you'll get hurt going down and two, you'll get run over.
Right, that's the problem. If you don't get their cars, right?
If you don't get hurt that bad when you actually go down, the car coming up the other way, the dude on his cell phone is going to run you over.
Right, exactly.
So we
want to know our abilities though,
yes.
Which is why we push ourselves to the max on these courses so that when we're out on the road, we know where our line is and we can back that off a little bit so that we know when we come around the corner and there's dipshit and coming over the center line a little bit, we have some room for error that we're not pushing it so much, but you can't practice that on the road because that's insane.
It would be
because that you might have that car around the corner or the stalled vehicle,
gravel.
Holy
cow. There's some of those, there's a couple times I scraped the exhaust and not like on the outside edge. And so if you look at an ST with no bags on it, I mean, I was tipped pretty far. A little bit of gravel would have been over. I would have low side. The bike would have been sliding out. I would have gone sliding out and then that would have been it.
Right. Yeah.
And they literally sweep the track.
They do.
So we don't have to worry about that.
And that's what we're so lucky is we can go there knowing that it's clean. We can do it. It's clean. There's no cars coming around. So we can really figure out where we're at, as far as our abilities and then to improve your abilities. So we'll get in just a little bit deeper here, guys. With that, that's right. Hey, Bikeaholics, searching for new and exciting motorcycle products? Zero 3D has just what you're looking for. Check out their wide variety of innovative products for Harley-Davidson motorcycles. Zero 3D's got your back with chrome, lighting, comfort products, no modifying, cutting, grinding, or welding for an easy installation, Oscar. That equals less time installing, more time riding. Zero 3D has a design team with over 40 years of experience with a passion for design and innovation. These guys are bikers and care about bikers just like you. They pride themselves on the great customer service. Got a question? Get in touch with them via email, sales@zero3d.com, or give them a call, 715-808-0027. Zero 3D is distributed in the U.S. by Drag Specialties, in Europe by Parts Europe and Zodiac, and in Asia by Twin Art. Check at your local Harley dealership and ask for Zero Parts. Better yet, head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store because we are a Zero 3D distributor. That's right. So we're set up. So 3 courses, guys. And again, me and Oscar are split up. I'm with my guys. They sent 2 other motors officers from my department over to this training with me. And I got to hang with them because we're in the Harley group, of course. And Siri just woke up. Did I say something close to Siri? Zero 3D. That's what she did.
Oh,
my phone. She heard Zero 3D. Yeah.
She got excited about it.
Jeez, she thought I was summoning her. My phone's like, "What can I help you with?" I'm like, "What the hell's going on?"
Shut up, Siri.
Yeah, shut it.
No one wants you.
Yeah. So the infield is the lower speed course, which is a lot more technical, and it was fun too. But I agree, the higher speed stuff was absolutely phenomenal. So to give you guys an idea, they time the runs. They want you in a certain area, what they have for a time. And it is amazing once you go around. They do have some guys, I'm pretty lucky because I know that course too a little better because I've trained cars on it so much. Yeah. I just was having a freaking ball. And if you guys have never seen this, if you've never seen it from the perspective of riding behind somebody, now the sports bikes are not the sports bikes, but the metric sports touring, like Oscar's riding, you expect to see guys leaning off the bike a little bit. It is awesome. If you've never seen a guy ride a Harley like this, because that's how I was riding my Harley. And I do out on the road, depending on how fast I'm going around a corner. But we're literally, guys, when we going into a corner, of course, we're hitting our apex, right? There are certain marks. Once you figure out those marks and you get good at that, And of course, going in and, there's all different kinds of techniques. That's not really what this podcast is about. It's more the experience and behind the scenes. But, braking as you're going into a corner, you're kind of dumping a little bit of speed. You can load your front end a little bit, just like you do with a car, which helps you just kind of dip into the corner. Mm-hmm. And then we're literally on my Electra Glide Harley, I'm leaning off the inside where, if we're turning left, I'm leaning off, my shoulders dipped into that thing, and I'm hanging off this Harley because I'm yanking it over to get into the groove of that corner, guys. When when you're going slower speed, you can push your bike around. And what I mean by that is, you all know, if I want to go around a right corner, I'm just going to sit up straight and I'm going to push on my right handlebar, right? Or steer in the opposite direction. Some people like to say it that way, but essentially that's what you're doing. If you're going around a corner to the right, you're steering to the left because that forces you to lean right. But an easier, does it make sense?
Yeah.
That's what they teach people. And I'm like, how about you just tell them to push on their right handlebar, and you're doing the same thing. So however you want to look at it, and that works for tour riding and you guys out there, and that's great. But if you are going to push your bike and corner to the max, that trying to sit up straight and push your bike over, it's going to get you in trouble.
Yeah.
You have to, if you're going to be aggressive and you're going to go into a corner at a high speed and take it at the max, you got to get your body over. You got to get your butt over on the seat. You got to slide over, and you got to go into the corner with authority. It's not something you can do half-ass. And so it's so cool feeling though. And I've done it before. I even do it out on the road yesterday, coming back from Reno, just because it's the proper way to go. We're doing the speed limit, but we're doing the corners at over with the suggested speed, but you can on a motorcycle, and it's not dangerous because you just have to know what you're doing. Not everybody can do that, and I get that, but that's the reason is a lot of guys don't understand. Yeah, even on a Harley, there's a reason sports bike rider and racers are leaning off their bike and their knees out because they're trying to get that weight and force that bike over. And so it looks similar to that, not as extreme on a Harley, but that's the key, guys. And I'm not suggesting you go out and do this on the open road unless you have a lot of time practicing on a track, on a closed track like this, because it's something you need to get good at. But it's so cool looking, man, because I was doing it, of course, and I'm getting all my weight over and just hitting those apexes, and those tires are just sticky and hot. And man, when they grab good after you're all warmed up, and your bike's grabbing good, and you're just leaning into those corners, it's just an awesome feeling. It's even funner because we were chasing each other around the track, and I was catching up to people, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
doing little races. But there's an area where, it can get sketchy where you don't want to push yourself too hard either. So but I knew where my line was, and I was able to catch quite a few guys on the Electra Glides. I was one of the faster ones out there, so I was pretty happy about that. I even catch some guys on the sports touring.
You wouldn't have
catching them on the track. I'd have caught you in a heartbeat.
You wouldn't have caught me.
I was begging him.
By the end, I was like, I burnt my boots off. In fact, I was cornering.
Not
so
only would
hard.
I have caught you,
I
would have pitted you.
You wouldn't even caught me.
Oh, dude,
I would have flown in the air, backflipped, landed on your bike, thrown you off, and then I would have ridden your bike away while my bike crashed.
It's on, mofo. It's on, dude.
So, all right, let me talk about cornering real quick.
This is it, dude. We're going to do a video on it. It's going to be a challenge.
All right, next year.
Me catching Oscar on his sports touring.
We'll make sure. I'll make sure at next Advanced that we get that going.
No, let's not, because we'll both get hurt.
I know. It'll be fun.
Because we're too competitive.
It'll be fun.
That's good, though.
Okay, so for the listening audience, this is from someone you and I were talking about this beforehand. And some of the guys on this ride we just got done asked me about cornering and leaning off the bike. And here's what I found. And I know it's not just me. There's people right now that are going to hear this and go, I did that too. So you're in a corner and you've started the corner at a reasonable pace and you're making the corner and you found that you're too slow. And so I saw guys doing it on a ride just from Reno. And so you go upright and then you lean over and then you kind of it's weird, but you get a little, I don't know how to explain it.
You're not holding the corner right.
Exactly.
You're pushing a little bit and then standing up and pushing a little bit and then standing up and pushing a little bit and you're drifting.
Exactly. So what I found, because I used to do that, is by using my hips and my ass and do what you're talking about by sliding over, the bike is more stable. And instead of going up and leaning and up and leaning and up and leaning, I can just hang off there. And then the throttle control's there on the right side or left side or whatever. And I don't do that. I can hold the corner a lot easier because I'm using my body weight, not my arms to steer.
Oscar, did you just say that you're using your hips and your butt, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Oscar said it,
all
dude.
about hips and ass.
There you go, buddy. For Oscar, working his hips, working his ass. Oh, yeah.
That's where the magic
Back
happens.
that ass up. Oscar's just looking at me like, you
I don't know.
dickhead.
You know what? It's fine. I have a huge butt. So I have to use it for something. And I don't have any rhythm on the dance floor, so using it on my motorcycle.
There you go, dude. Can I play this song when you're at school next time?
Yeah.
Get you pumped up, dude.
Oh,
Work
dude.
it, Oscar.
Oh, yeah.
Work it, Oscar.
I'll shake it a little. Oh, we're not live, though. No one can see us.
No, we're not.
That sucks.
Oh, my God. Okay, that's ridiculous. Can you do me a favor? Because I got so sidetracked there because when you said you're working your ass.
Dude,
It's okay.
come on.
So we're
If you have a big butt, use it, dude. Just use it.
We're talking about
Cornering.
Yeah, we're talking about so and I see it too. And everybody's felt it if you're not.
Yeah.
And you're pushing and you're standing up. So by using your hips and your butt, all jokes aside, say that again, repeat that part because I totally got off track.
If you use your body to control the bike, if you're hanging off it, right? So you're moving over.
Right.
So if you're making a right-hand corner, you're on the right side of the seat.
Right.
You should be over there, not sitting upright, but hanging off on the right side. You're using the biggest portion of your body to control the bike, not your arms.
Correct.
And so you're not pushing on the handlebars, which causes you to stand up, tip over, stand up, tip over. And so I found it way smoother in almost every corner I'm in when I start to lean over, at least shift my hips over, I can hold the corner. And
Right.
Even no matter how fast or slow I go. And then I can look under my handlebars and see through. And I'm using my hands to talk and no one can see but
Right.
either way.
Let me say this though, because I want to make sure that the listeners understand. If you're, because I don't want, this technique that we're talking about is, and we ride hard on duty. Of course, we're in an emergency situation. We're catching up to cars. We're on our way to calls, things like that. This is a different deal. I don't want you to think that if you're out touring and you're out with your cruise control set at 60 in a 60 zone and the corner says 35 and you're slowing to 35 or 40, you can corner all day.
You don't need it.
You can be lazy. You can just stand. I do. If we're just going slow, I just push on my handlebars and you're fine and you can hold your track. Especially once you get experience, you're not pushing too hard. You realize how hard and you can hold your line, no problem. This is if you're going to be riding a little bit more aggressively.
Yes, right.
Legally, but aggressively.
Right.
Which means you see a
got
35 sign for the corner and you're going to do it at 45 or 50.
Or 50, right.
Okay. This is where these techniques you'll want to start practicing these. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
And we ride off duty like that too, guys. We have no problem. And we'll even do this two abreast. Me and Oscar just rode home yesterday. We rode from Reno all the way to Yakima, Washington, and it was 610 miles. And it was about 10 and a half hours in the saddle. And pretty much 99% of the way we rode side by side. Yeah. And we were pushing corners at 15, 20 over, no problem. And that we could do it faster than that. But I wouldn't want to do that on the open road because, again, I leave room for error.
Right.
If there is, I come around that corner and there's a deer, or I come around that corner and there's a stalled vehicle. So makes sense, Oscar.
Yeah.
I just don't want people to start thinking, I'm going to try leaning, because it's actually counterproductive at that point.
If you're too slow, then
if you're too slow, it doesn't work. It's counterproductive. Just sit up and push your bars like you always do, and you'll be fine. So I just wanted to make sure that we mentioned that. So
what I wanted to add to that, what I found out is so on the Harleys you have floorboards, right? And you just regularly scrape your floorboards doing cone stuff.
I showed them on a video before. I think I did a live and I showed people my floorboards are shaved down. You know how that you have your floorboards and then around them is a bent lip all the way around them. That lip, guys, you have to be careful because I've cut my finger on it before. It's shaved the entire floorboard. We have to replace them actually because they get so thin, they break off. It's shaved down to a razor blade on those floorboards. That's from low speed drills, and I was dragging at high speed drills too.
So I'm in this high speed course. And I have my boots on I have these little tiny.
This is funny, dude. I forgot about this.
Snickers bar freaking foot pegs. And
that's what I don't like about those bikes. I'm not trashing them. If you guys ride Hondas, it's cool. It's just
the foot pegs.
Yeah, the foot pegs.
So that first hour before I destroyed my tire, I was like, I just had my I'm wearing just a Danner boot. So it's got a heel and then the 4-foot part.
Right.
And so I'm riding with the foot peg right in the middle. And I kept catching my boots. And I'm like, this is stupid. This shouldn't be. So all I could do is move the ball of my foot to the foot pegs as best I could.
Right.
But my shoes still kind of hang off on the edges. By the end of the second
you got big old feet too, by the way.
Well, and I do.
Size what?
Size 12 boot.
Yeah.
But by the end of the day, at the end of the second day, I was cornering so well that I scraped off the corners of my boots. Completely made them unusable.
Hilarious.
They
dude.
There was
like the front left, if you're on your left side, like the front left of the boot, if I remember.
The front left 3 inches.
Right.
From where the stitching meets the sole all the way towards the middle of the boot. It was just totally shaved off like at a 45-degree angle. And that's how hard we were cornering, at least I was.
And there's other guys that did that to their boots too,
there
right?
Was. Yeah, there was a bunch of guys. And on one of the courses, they were giving me some hell about it.
See, my floorboards protect my feet from doing that, right? That's what you're getting at.
Exactly.
Yeah. We drag the floorboards instead of our boots.
Yep, that's exactly it. And I ruined they were on their way out, but I could have got one more resole out of them.
Yeah.
I didn't end up buying new boots because they were totally destroyed. On the
Save those,
pegs.
dude. Can you?
I chucked them. No, I chucked them. I thought about saving them because it was kind of cool, but
you guys got to get this. So I forgot this, dude. This is freaking hilarious. So I was laughing so hard because me and Oscar, obviously, we're always teasing each other
a little bit, yeah.
And I straight up that night because I was laughing because his boots just look like shit and they're all shaved off. And I'm like, dude, I know, because it's Oscar. And I'm like, dude, because I know Oscar would wear them if I got them. So I sent him this picture. They're like a Mexican boot, dude, and they're black and they had like alligator skin, but they were and they're pointy. You got to picture like Oscar in these
a mid-square low cowboy boot kind of thing that dudes wore in the 70s.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was totally pointed, but the best part was completely chrome tips. They had rivets and chrome tips on them, dude. They were so freaking stylish. Like people sell them like on eBay and stuff, and it would be the most freaking hilarious. And I cried when we were going back and forth and the text messages, and I almost bought them, dude. They're kind of spendy because they're kind of a novelty or, collector's item, dude. And I'm like, I have a picture of them in here. I don't even want to pull it up because I'll start laughing so hard, dude. But I'm like, Oscar, you have to wear these next.
I
just
will.
show up in them at Advanced. And I just want to see the sparks come off, dude. And you in them on your police bike, dude, with these silver tip boots, dude.
Hey, if you buy them, I'll wear them.
I know you would.
I totally would, dude. And it would protect my boots. Then I wouldn't have to buy new boots because the chrome.
It really would, dude. That's the funny thing about it.
You could probably replace the chrome.
You probably could,
That would be pretty sweet. I could get powder coated.
Chrome tip
depending
boots.
on what uniform I'm wearing, I could get powder coated chrome. I could probably get, spray painted desert tan or something.
The best part is the point on them. They're just like an arrow point, dude.
It's awesome. And I could walk right from there right to a formal dinner.
Yeah, exactly, dude. You get up and go straight to the casino, dude, and go high roller, go play the tables, bro. Go play the tables, dude, in your boots, dude. Oh, good times, dude. I was laughing so hard about that.
Freaking boots. Yeah, so that was my favorite part. I rode the infield. I'm still not as good at the cone course stuff, but I enjoyed I really liked riding those dog bones. That's a pattern I had not ridden. And that was pretty cool. And that riding those over and over kind of let me.
This is the lower speed course that he's talking about, the infield, right? Yeah. They had a course set up in the infield, which didn't have, it had a little bit of higher speed than regular, but not nearly out on the main track.
Right.
This is where the kind of close to where their skid pan is, guys, at this track where they can fill it with water. And it's kind of next to that, but they have a big infield and it's brand new. They just paved this track 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Brand new pavement, and it needed it. So we got on this brand new pavement.
It was glorious. So, but probably thinking back, my favorite was the height. So we had a totally open high speed course where we just learned.
Okay, good. Yeah.
How to ride high speed and about the cornering. That's where I burnt my boots off.
No cones.
You're just riding lap after lap.
Ripping the corners.
And you could, in an hour, I got like 30 laps in. Yeah. Forever. So then the second course, after I got my new tire and made it back.
I had to park because I was start getting sloppy because I get so tired. I push myself and I'm stupid like that.
Yeah.
To where
I don't get tired. But,
yeah.
I get better as I go.
Right. Yeah. Whatever.
So I made it back for the high speed with cones course.
Right.
And there was two separate ones. And I didn't really like it at first, but I kind of grew on me. So we started with the intersection, and that's just a slow
you start from a 140
pull out.
140 pull out. So it's got cones mixed in with the high speed. You break out of it and go haul ass, and then bam, you got to.
Well, you go around that, that was a weird corner. It was a triangle, point of a triangle instead of a 90. It was weird. and then into the intersection.
Which is just, it's hard to explain that on the podcast, but it's just
it was weird.
It's a big, it's I'm not even going to explain.
But then down to the,
But then you haul ass and you got basically lane changes, guys, is what it simulates.
That was day 2. I'm talking about day 1.
Oh, see, okay.
With the offset cone weave.
Right.
You went down, what was you went through the intersection and then you went around the corner, you hauled ass to the offset cone weave.
Right.
And then you went farther down and did what? I can't remember.
Came around the corner. It was a lane change, emergency lane change around that corner by the gate where you enter.
Was that what it was?
You
had
to dump it, and then you
that's
had the
right.
line of cones, and then over and over. And basically what they are, guys, is a long line of cones. You got to jam your brakes, and then there's very little room to jack back over to the right, go through that line of cones, and then jack back over to the left. It's basically your emergency braking and avoidance.
That's what it was. Mm-hmm. And then through those,
and then bam, then on the gas again.
Yep.
Back around the corners into the cone weave. Remember the curb?
It was
right next to the curb. You had to do the cone weave.
Yes, that's right. And then to the keyhole, and then finish
keyhole, which is on my videos, guys. I've done a couple videos on some of the motor stuff, the keyhole and stuff. So search the website and channel for some of that. I won't explain it, but it's basically a keyhole. It looks like a keyhole. It's a circle with really small entry cones, and it's a full bar lock and lean and scrape, and it's depending on what size you make that. Which the dog bones kind of are too. They're a circle. They're kind of they're an angle keyhole. You go in at an angle. The entry cones are at an angle, but the circle's still a keyhole circle. It's just a circle, right?
You make a figure 8. You go across, make a figure 8, and then go across and make another figure 8 and out.
Right. Yeah.
And I got
at an angle.
Yes. Yeah. And
because you got to get back out at an angle.
Right.
Right.
And, getting out was tough. And so, I got into the one. So then the next day, I didn't get to do the infield the first day. The next day I came back. And they were like, hey, do it.
That's right, because you're tired. Yeah, you missed out. That's right. It.
And so I got into the dog bone, and you go across, you enter the dog bone, so it's high right, low left. So they're kind of offset, higher to the right and lower to the left. And you go across, and then you start your turn to the right, or you could go across, start your turn to the left, whatever.
Right.
Well, I made my turn immediately, and I forgot to go across. And so, because I'd only ridden the course a couple of times, no one took me through it. So whatever. And so I went backwards and I got stuck in it. But I managed the bar lock turn to get back into the pattern and out again. And I got penalized for it.
You got penalized for it?
I should have got cool points for fixing the problem, not putting my foot down and getting back out of it. But
were you, who penalized you?
They did.
Was this your,
my qual run?
Oh, so you didn't do it during practice. You did it during your actual qual run. Okay. I got you.
I really wasn't paying too much attention. Anyway, I enjoyed those. There was the eliminator was in there, and the circular cone weave, which is kind of cool. That's tough.
Yeah.
And then they had that offset pair cone weave. I'd never done that. That was different.
We had that at NAMOA, North American Motorcycle Officers Association training. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, it was different. But I like that. Out of the offset pairs cone weave to an inline cone weave, to a 90 to a high-speed brake box. That was cool. I really liked that. To a 90 out and then to the finish.
Right.
And that was pretty cool.
It was the whole course, that whole infield was just, I liked it. I was having fun. I was getting a rhythm in there, dude. Until.
I wished I would have seen this.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I mean, I hear it, but I just wished I would have seen it.
Yeah, dude, I
saw the marks on the pavement.
Yeah, dude. All right, so here's my story. So we train hard. Now, let me tell you this. Let me build up to this real quick, and then we're going to get close to taking this episode out. You probably have a few other things to say. So the infield cone we've got, or the infield, it's lower speed. It's very technical, and I love riding high speed, but I feel like I'm pretty confident in my abilities, and I can ride pretty fast. I can make some good times. And in fact, I will say that I got the best time out of my group.
Awesome.
On the infield. I was ripping it. I was feeling good. Everything was running good. I just had one of those days where I was really in the mode, and I wanted to get the best time. There was a couple guys after me, and okay, so we're newcomers. Here's the deal.
Yeah.
We were newcomers to advanced motor school. And so a lot of the guys, it's the same guys that go year after year.
Right.
I don't think they were expecting it. And I went to advance, I'm like, I'm going to smoke some of these guys. I know that's bad, but I kind of get competitive.
Sure.
And I've been practicing a lot
Right.
on my own time down at our motors course. I'm like, I'm going to get fast. Because it's one thing to get the motor school, but it takes time. And some guys never get fast. They don't have a drive to do that, but it doesn't mean they're not good riders. They're still better than most of the riders out on the road. They're police motors officers, but they aren't ever going to push beyond that ability.
Right.
I'm the kind of personality where I take risks and I kind of want to win stuff.
Yeah.
And it sucks because it's stressful, but I want to win and I don't want to be last. And I want, I want people to take note of that. And so I was practicing and I knew there was a couple guys that, I knew who was after me because I was watching them, and on this high speed course, I had won one guy and he usually takes it every year and I won him. And he was, even the instructors, which to be an instructor doesn't mean you have to be fast.
No, right.
It just means you have to know how to instruct, kind of like firearms. It doesn't mean you have to be the best shooter. You have to know how to instruct. So, and I'm not saying this to be arrogant at all. I'm just, I wanted to get into this, to the mindset and why this, when you're pushing yourself, what happens. So I'm pushing myself good. And I won that same guy on the high speed, and the instructor's like, oh shit. He comes up to me and goes, this son of a bitch. He had already qualled and he's like, he's going to go again just to see. It won't be on the record because he's already done his quals, but he can't stand losing. That you beat him.
Oh,
he goes, you watch this. That guy didn't say a word, got on his bike and went and did it again. I still beat him by 1 second. So we go over to the infield and I'm like, oh, this guy's going to be pissed because I'm the newcomer, right, to the advanced motor school. And he's like, and he, you know how that is.
Oh yeah.
And he's a good rider, dude. I much respect, dude. It's just, one day he could win me and the next day I'm definitely, it's just the way it goes. And so we go to the infield. Now, guys, I'm pushing myself to the max, and I've done it before on our courses. I'm on the line between full control and no control, and you have to get there. But what happens is, and we'll talk about this too. You'll bring this up because this happened to your partner on the road. We won't mention names.
Oh yeah.
So here's what happens, guys. So you're pushing these bikes to the limit. You're pushing yourself to the limit. And yes, Harleys they can wheelie. They just can. And so what happens is, briefly, and I know my line because I've been on it before and I've come damn close. You're in a full lean, say in a keyhole, a really tight 17 and a half foot, 18, whatever it may be. And you're in a full, that's as much as a Harley can do. And you go in and you're in a full bark lock turn. Well, the way you make up time is I shave the corner even tighter than the keyhole is. And I don't want to use all the real estate. That's the proper way to do it, but that'll get you a regular time. Cutting the circle and taking that bike down to right before it skips out and you're dragging the frame is where you got to be. Yeah. And it sounds loud when you're doing all that. Well, what happens is, and where I've been sketchy before, is I'm coming around and I'm coming out of to exit the keyhole. So as soon as you get around, I'm in a full bar lock turn and that bike is leaned over and it's dragging as far as that bike can go down. And then I've got to stand it back up. And the way you stand it back up is you gotta you gotta gas it a little bit, right? And to get out of it fast, you want to gas it because I want to get out of the pattern and onto my next one. Right. Well, what happens is if you gas a Harley too soon before I'm stood up enough, it wheelies. And so what happened is I was hot, dude, and I was on my qual run. And this is the second pattern of the qual run. Yeah. And I'm pushing for time because I'm like, I'm going to beat this guy, dude. But this is how you learn. Yeah. If you don't push yourself to go down, now I know. Right. I was off. I can't go that line again because you can get hurt. There's been lots of motors officers, broken bones and all kinds, and it can put you out. So, it's sketchy. But I came around that second pattern. And it was an intersection. It's an easy pattern for me. I can make time in there, dude. I was, and everybody knew that. So I was making time in there and I was being pretty cocky to make time. And I got on the gas too quick and I came out from that full lean and the bike wheelied. Yeah. And I knew it. And I was like, oh, and what happens is now you're in a lean, you're still in a lean. And I'm not talking like a 3-foot wheelie. I'm talking, several inches off the ground. Yeah. And so, but once your front tire comes and you're a full lean, now you have zero control. Right. And what happens is you let off the gas and your tire is turned in the air and you come down and you're turned a little bit and then the bike goes ass over tea kettle. And so what happened is I turned to the right a little bit during the wheelie. I came down on it. Bam. I went down. There's no planning for that one. you don't like slowly drop your bike. You don't do nothing. It's very ungraceful.
Just ride it out.
Yeah. So I did. I didn't ride it out, but the bike went down on its right side. I kept my hand on the throttle the entire time. I went down with the bike and I kind of caught on my feet and I rolled with it and I kept my hand on the throttle. So if you can imagine that, my head went through my arm. And then I went like this, Oscar. I twisted around like I'm doing a flip.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking and I saw sky and then I kept my hand on the throttle. So my body did a complete flip while my arms. So people were freaking out thinking I snapped my arm because I didn't let go.
Right.
And I came down on my stomach with my hand still on the throttle, even though I did a full roll with it, dude. And I got up and everyone's like, comes running over, dude, because they're like, oh my God, are you okay? And I look at him, I'm like, I'm actually pretty good. Yeah. I don't think I should be, but I am.
Do I get penalized for that?
Because it was hard. Yeah. Do I get penalized for that? It was freaking hard, dude.
Yeah.
And I remember my partner saying, because they watch me ride all the time, the guys I ride with in my department, and they're like, he told me after he's standing in the group, and he said, this is all he said. He's a pretty calm guy. He goes, that's not something you see very often. Because he was referring to me. I don't crash. I'm fast, and I it's just not a mistake I make very often. And he goes, that's something you won't see every day. And the crowd's all looking. I'm like, okay, and I was fine. And, scraped up a little bit, but I was like, okay, I'm good. So in my personality, it's just the way I am. I don't like defeat. I'm the kind of guy you get bucked off, dude. No, I am not going to sit. I am not going to think about it. I know my mistake.
Yeah.
I'm a confident rider. I don't need time. Don't give me time. So all I did was got on my Harley. I went out for 45 seconds and I just ripped it around non-cone stuff just to make sure my bike was operating, feeling my clutch, feeling my gray area, making sure everything was nothing loose, and I said, I'm back in. I went to the instructor. I go, I'm back up front. Put me up front. He goes, you sure? I go, yeah, dude, I'm not scared. I just made a mistake.
Yeah, right.
I'm pushing it to the limit. I'm going to take the best time here. I didn't tell him that, but in my mind, I'm like, oh, game on now. Yeah. And I got right back up front, dude, and I laid it down a run, dude.
Yeah.
And it was the fastest time. The guys couldn't beat me right after defeat like that. And that's what the guy came up. He goes, dude, the first day I was there, the guy, one of the instructors rode up next to me. He goes, dude, you ride that thing like you fucking stole it. He's like, for a guy your size to throw that bike around like that. He was like, dude, I can't do a time like that. He goes, that's amazing. Good job. He goes, you practice a lot. I go, yeah, I practice a lot. And he came up to me after that. He goes, that was fucking insane, that run. He goes, I can't believe you did that on top of just crashing. I go, crash, it's no big deal. You know what I mean? I know my mistake.
People, you're retarded, but
you're right. It looked bad. I don't realize how bad it looked, but I was like, that I made a mistake. I know my mistake. I can't gas out that early. I'm pushing it too hard.
Right.
And so went right back in. But so anyways, again, that's not an arrogant story. That's just a fun story, but that feels good. After you do that, you go down and, and be able to just pick it back up, realize your mistake and know, I know what I did. It's just, it was a sloppy mistake. I got on it too soon, and to run it like that. So that was fun. And, I got a ton of runs on that. So you have any questions about that? That's my, so here's the deal. So I got a picture by it. Washington State Patrol. There is now, because my crash guards and my footboards and everything, dude. Yeah. My bike slid like 15 feet when that happened.
I saw the marks.
Brand new pavement, guys. Yeah. Not anymore. There is a freaking Ryan Urlacher Harley-Davidson gouge, like gouges in the pavement across their whole intersection. Yeah. And so I got a picture by it with the old peace sign, dude, or the rock on sign, and Kurt, I wanted to actually spray paint my name by it for the State Patrol, sign my name by it. Sorry, Ryan Urlacher or something like that, dude, because you can't. Yeah, they won't fix that until the next time they pave that track.
There was some impressive scratches.
It was.
Yeah, and
I think I put it in the private patron only Facebook group. I think I shared it in there. I can't remember, but only the patrons. Yeah, you got to become a patron to see some of that behind the scenes stuff. So get signed up.
I don't push myself quite that hard.
Yeah. Well, yeah, though. But and we've said it in our regular motors unit. I've only been a motors officer for full time. When did I start? Well, late in the year of 2016. Yeah. But I've trained with them for 4 years.
Right.
Every chance I got.
Right.
Leading up to me being accepted as a full-time motors officer.
Right.
So, rightfully so, I've had a bit more experience doing this motor stuff than you. You know what I mean? So you will, I think, get to the point where you'll, and you already are making great improvements. And
it's
and you'll
totally different
once you get comfortable and you're not, then that's when you can really dial in the time stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm getting there. The Honda.
I didn't do that right away. I was just dialing in how to properly make things smooth.
Right.
Once I made things smooth, I started going, okay, now how do I shave time? You know what I mean? You have to be smooth, because if you're smooth and you know all your marks, then you can make mistakes in the patterns and still get out of them okay.
Right.
Like I can go in and make a error and still usually save it.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I get sloppy. So rightfully so.
I'd like to do it on the Harley, and I'd like to I do it on mine, and the big bars make it tougher. I can do it. I can do full bar lock turns and stuff.
Right.
To see, because that Honda's
so hard. Yeah. Because
it's top heavy.
Right.
And so in the high speed stuff actually made it better, because it wanted to stand up.
Because they're made for that.
They are made for that. But
Right.
the slow speed stuff was tougher.
The Harleys are so well balanced for what we do, and people don't understand that. They are so well balanced.
They are.
For low speed stuff.
And the center of gravity's low.
Correct.
Low. So that's good. So, but one of the things I talk to a lot of dudes, always talking to guys, motors guys, any of the trains we go to, and the BMWs, which is probably what we're going to, came out on top. And I think I got a fair sampling of county guys, city guys, good riders, bad. No, I don't want to say bad riders, because they're all really good. But like the one guy, this guy from up north, that I mean, he was insane.
Oh,
insane.
There was some sports touring bikes. If you're a good rider on a sports touring, there's no way I can keep up. I'm just the regular guys I could catch, but on the Harley. But
this guy scratched in high speed cornering. He scraped the engine guard at the top.
Yeah.
At the freaking top.
Isn't that when he said, "Yeah, I'm pushing a little hard"?
He
realized that's
he did.
sketchy. Yeah, that's sketchy.
That is sketchy.
That's just
So that's where I learned that probably the BMW's coming out as the top bike. Because that I've talked to guys, the Cowies and some of the other bikes, and they'll have their pros and cons. A lot of guys say the Hondas are probably the easier of the metric bikes to ride until you get the BMWs. So we'll see. We'll see.
And so Oscar, their department started out, just their program's new, and they started out with these used Honda STs, which is good, but it looks like they're getting the BMWs. Let me ask you this before we talk any more about that. So the fastest my police bike, it's a 13 Electra Glide. It's got the 103. The fastest I could get it is 110. That's how fast did you probably didn't get your Honda as fast as it would go, just because there's not enough room.
No, there's plenty of room. I got to
closed track guys here.
Yeah.
On closed track training.
On the high speed, that big straight. Right before you enter, where we were parked.
I'm just curious what the Honda was reading for you for that.
I hit 110, and I had way more.
Well, of course you did. My Harley was tapped at 110.
Yeah, no, I came out of that,
and that was at the very end before I had to slow. It took a minute to get there. Once you get over 100, it takes a little bit to creep.
I came out of that big sweeping corner at 95.
Okay, right.
And so the one time I hit 110, following that dude from up north, it was an older guy and a younger guy, and I hit 110. I might have hit 120, and I was like, I don't know what I gain.
Correct.
And I had plenty of time to brake,
right,
to get into that next corner.
But why? Because you're winding the drill down at that point. All that's going to make me, if I get going faster, is really get on the binders even more to get back in line.
Or if I make a small mistake at 120. So the bike, and I rode that high speed course a lot almost all in second, which made a world of difference. So I could get into that. I could go from second. The start of that corner was weird. Mm-hmm, it was a little sharp and then opened.
Correct.
So I could go from second to third and into fourth and be almost at 100 exiting that corner if I really wanted to push it hard. And I did a couple of times, but at some point, those speeds, I'm like, what do I really gain by doing 130? I think the bike's governed at 120.
Oh, is it? Okay.
But I could have got to 120. I could have got well past 120.
Right. Oh, I bet. I don't
know.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
Because I never talked to you about that.
Yeah.
So.
And the one dude said he hit maybe it was 110. I can't remember. It was either 110 or 120. And he said the same thing I do. He goes, what's the point?
I'm pretty stoked then. I was going, as much as a Harley would do. I was probably between 105, 110, right in there when I got over the crest of the hill and was able to let it catch up a little bit.
The average speed, even I followed a good portion of my group through that at one point or another. And the average speed people took that straight wasn't even at 90.
So they just backed off and goes, what's the point?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I know guys were not taking that big sweeper very hard. I know.
I took that. That's where I caught a lot.
That was fun.
I could catch all the Harleys on that corner because that's the fun part.
That corner and that very first corner, going past where we were parked.
Right.
I got into that, I think, at 65.
Okay, right.
I hit it 70 once, and that just scared me. And I was like, well,
you found your line.
Yeah, because you have to immediately transition out of the corner. I'm like, I could do it, but I'd really be on the brakes hard at 80. And
you can get hurt on this track, guys. There's trees all over. We talked about that. They guys wanted us to push us, but not stupid.
Yeah.
Because there have been guys last year, a guy went off the track and ended up in Harborview.
Yeah.
I guess Harborview Hospital with trauma. So,
and he's still jacked up.
So it's nerve wracking because we're pushing ourselves to the limit, but we got to know, that's a personal thing that you have to say, okay, I'm going to start here and I'm going to work up and not get too far in, and then know before you screw up, and I saw some guys screw up.
I did.
And get better. Yep. They went high. So what happened? Yeah. They went into those diminishing radius curves and I was following them and I know my lines and I was holding tight, trying to catch them. And I saw them go high, really fucking high, and off to the shoulder, the paved shoulder, which then turns into gravel and then trees, and they caught it before, but whoo, that's a scary thing to watch.
It's so silly because I did that on the that middle corner. It was that middle corner, and then it went into the next right turn where it went corner, straight corner, that little U thing, and I got out. That was that corner, and I looked to the right for whatever reason. I thought, oh, I'm too fast, and I looked straight, and it took me right. It started taking me right off the track. I'm like,
did you brake?
No.
Okay. Right.
Then I realized, I can just lean farther and that's,
you can hang off the bike more.
And I did. I went, and I just hung off the bike. I think it's the point I scraped the center stand because I had it pinned tight. It was tight, but that was the first holy shit. This bike can really corner hard.
The bike can do more than you mentally can believe it can do.
That's usually exactly the case. Mm-hmm. And from that point forward, I was like, this bike can do a whole lot more than and then I started.
Again, that's the first time you were able to do that to that bike.
Exactly.
You would have known your Harley because you've done a lot of, how to corner on your Harley out on the road. We do it all the time. You would have been, I think you would have been well ahead of the crowd being very comfortable with a Harley, but that was the first time you got to do that on a Honda.
On the Honda.
It would take me a while to get on that Honda and figure that thing out. I'm just very comfortable on a Harley. I know the limits of a Harley, man. I know where I can go and where I can't, but that takes time on a closed track again, guys, is where this was all done. And a lot of guys ask me, Oscar, this is an interesting thing. I'll just say it publicly. We get a lot. I don't know where law-abiding bikers are going. We're so busy right now with full-time jobs and doing this. We're kind of at our max, but there's been a lot of people that said you guys should start a school. Yeah. And, I'm not against that. And that may come in the future, but that would be after we retired our Leo careers probably. Yeah. That we might add something like that. But I get those emails. Here's what I'll tell you, because everybody's like, they see my videos of motors training, and there's a lot of listeners out there that want to get better. And then there's those that don't, and that's dangerous, guys. You should always be trying to get better and really understand your bike and its capabilities. And even slow town is where you're going to get in a wreck. Those slow speed drills and knowing how to maneuver and in tight parking lots and things like that is super critical. And the more comfortable doing those drills, the more comfortable you're on the bike, higher success rate of being safe. But they asked me, where can I get training like that? And here's what my response is. I would Google it for your area, do some research, because there are a lot of retired motors officers throughout the country that run schools. They retire and then they start up a motor school, and they train civilians to do some of the things that, depending on what your level is, they can start from amateur all the way to, if you want to get up to the level of a motors police officer. Yeah. But that's what I tell you, just Google it. I don't recommend any schools because none of them have reached out to me, and I've never, personally experienced them. If any of them reach out to me in the future and want to bring me to their school so I can experience what they're teaching, and I can look at their curriculum, and say, it's good. This guy knows what, because just because he was a motors officer and retired guys and teaching a school doesn't mean he had the best training or that he was even competitive, because there's different standards throughout the country, which we've originally talked about, on what kind of training they get. So I'm not saying they're out there screwing people at all. I think there's some awesome probably schools out there, but it's just hard for me to personally recommend it until I were to get some of the background on that instructor to figure out where's he been, what's his training. And I would ask that if I were looking up one of those schools. I would email them if it's not on their website and say, where and when did you, where and when did you attend schools.
Yeah.
And, give you some background information and then go, how long were you a motors officer?
Right.
And if they say, I was a motors officer for, 10 years, 20 years, I attended this school at this police academy, advanced motor school at Washington State Patrol Academy. If they start rambling off some stuff that's verifiable, you're like, okay, this guy's the real deal. Because there are departments that don't train and they have motors officers. And we talked about it before. It's highly dangerous and it's not always their fault. That's their administration. So just because a guy said he was a police motors officer doesn't mean he's all 100% qualified.
Right.
If it's in the Northwest,
probably pretty legit.
But there is a department north of us that has motors officers that we've invited to training and they've never even been to a school.
Like not very far north.
Correct.
Oh, I've heard that.
And so just be careful. Be careful is all I'll say. Do your research. It's easy. Google it and then get in touch with them. Call them and just talk to them. Where'd you go? What's training? How long you've been doing this? Just like you would if you were vetting any other kind of training. If you were going to firearm school, who is this guy? Like, what's his background? Oh, geez, he was, Navy SEALs, 3 missions. He's taught a school for 10 years. Probably pretty legit. Just do your research on that, guys.
But I'm here to tell you as the cycling public,
motorcycling.
The motorcycling.
If you say
public,
cycling, it makes it sound like total hick, dude.
Well,
I like to say it. Motorcycling.
Motorcycling public.
Ride my motorcycle.
Before I went, I was just a regular dude that rode a motorcycle. I was okay. I could keep it upright and I could corner and stuff. But learning how to do the stuff that I learned in motor school has made my time on my personal bike a billion, zillion, gazillion, million more times enjoyable. And I didn't train on a Harley, and I didn't train on a Harley.
You're so comfortable. Yes.
And I know, and so I know what the bikes can do, and I know what I can do.
I know what I can go into a corner at on the road.
And I know in a parking lot where I can go between 2 cars.
Correct.
And
without dragging your feet and looking like duck walking. Put your feet up on the damn floorboards and make the turn.
It's just trust me on that. If it's worth it. Had I known 4 or 5 years ago, I would have paid probably $500 or $600 to go to a good 4-day school to learn. And so it doesn't matter what bike you learn on. The principles, if you get them the right way, they translate from bike to bike. So
all the techniques are the same. Yeah. You just have to spend a little time with that bike to get your gray area. You're right. I get on other bikes and I ride, different bikes and I've ridden those Hondas before. You just have to practice. But it is, it's just, you just see a lot and I get it, guys, but guys duck walking and taking off from intersection, just, and get not being able to park where they want to because they're afraid to go into that parking lot. You can eyeball it and you can go right in, me and Oscar know, and we go in, we can, and tight and make a full bar lock turn, rip it around, get in that stall you want, rip out 140 out. And there's just not all this backing and putting feet down and it just
riding 2 blocks to turn around.
Correct.
When you can just turn the bars and go. I mean,
and that directly relates to if you're in an emergency situation in a parking lot, or I guess some people say, I understand how that's going to help me. It's going to help you because the more you can control your bike and the more you feel your bike and know your bike, the less sketched out you're going to be when you have to get into an emergency situation.
Yes,
where you do have to do this or dodge this, or you have to make that turn. It's just the more comfortable you can just become one with your bike. I really say that on my hot days, which are becoming more and more often, like when I'm training, like I said earlier, I felt hot. I do. You just really, until you feel that, to become one with that bike. Yeah, I really do. I know when I'm in there. Yeah, like it feels like there's no sketchiness. Like I can do anything with this bike. I know exactly. And that's just a good feeling. And if you're there, you're just going to be prepared for those situations out on the road. The more you can have comfort and less fear.
It's fun.
Confidence within reason.
Fun, right.
Yes. Good controlled confidence. Those kind of things. Yeah.
I love it. It
was a great talk.
Yeah.
What else do you want to say? Did we leave anything really good out of Advanced before we wrap it up here?
Your crash, the high speed, cornering, big booties.
2 days we got good weather. That was nice.
Good weather.
It didn't rain on us at all.
No.
It stayed pretty cool, cloudy in the mornings, and it burned off in the afternoons. The sun, and those guys over there on the west side, we always tease them because they get so much rain. We thought they were going to melt in the sun.
Yeah,
we're all like, this isn't even hot, guys.
No.
Those guys
my bike's going to melt down into the pavement.
Right.
No, it'll be fine.
We're used to 107 over here, and we were over there in the mornings because it was only like 60. We're in coats because we were cold. They're all looking at us like, and then the sun came out, and like they all went to the shade and sat, and we're all like, oh yeah, it's only like 80 degrees.
Yeah, it's
dude.
fine. It's perfect riding weather.
Perfect riding weather. They literally were sweating. Yeah. They start getting sunblock out and there's spray everywhere, and they were just, they look dog tired. They're sweating. I'm not even sweating because I'm like,
they were like,
I got to be over 100 for me to break a sweat.
You need to water up and make sure. I'm like, why would I drink any water?
I'm not even hot. I'm not sweating yet.
Yeah. I'm not 3rd-degree burns on my arms. We'll be fine.
Oh, we tease those guys.
Oh man. But one thing about that, I was a little nervous because like I said, I still suck at the cone courses. I'm getting better and I practice every day. You're getting
better. Yeah,
I am. I'm getting better, but I still suck. Everyone there was awesome. Like I was really impressed with, how everyone was real helpful. There was a couple people that were a little snooty and I'm like, well, whatever. But 99% of the people that were in my group, if I had issues or whatever, I could ask anyone, and I asked guys questions about the bikes, and everyone, it was just, I really enjoyed that. And I left there thinking it was just an awesome experience. Like I went into it going, God, this is going to kind of suck. I was looking forward to the high speed, but
right.
I left there thinking, man, if I can do this every year, I'll do it every year.
Absolutely, dude.
It was fun.
I agree. I was the same way. Like, man, yes. And I know there's you guys out there saying, you guys are so freaking lucky. I'll tell you right now that me and Oscar, we know we're blessed.
Absolutely.
We are very blessed. We're in a position, we've worked hard for it, though I've been a Leo for, 22, going on 22 years, and I'm finally in a position, that I can, be a police motors officer, and I am enjoying the heck out of it. I'm trying to relate a lot of it to Law Abiding Biker Media and to you guys and tell you some of the experiences, some of the behind the scenes. I do count my blessings, but also tell you that, we put up with a lot of shit in our job too. So it's not all roses, but by far I wake up and get to do that. And then every morning, come home in the evenings, park my police bike in the garage, and then I get to do Law Abiding Biker Media and hang out with you guys, the biker, bikers out there, the biker revolution, all you guys, all you listeners, all you supporters. And I know you guys like these episodes because I get a lot of feedback on them and the videos that we do and stuff like that. So yeah, it's not all roses, but at the end of the day, we are getting paid, to ride a motorcycle in that capacity, right?
It makes me smile every day.
It makes me smile. It really does. But we've worked hard for it. Oscar's been on, how many years you have?
16.
So Oscar's been on 16 and he just made this position.
Yeah.
So, we've worked up to it. It's not something that usually rookie officers are allowed to start at it. You got to put some time in and that kind of stuff, guys. So we appreciate you listening. And let's see, what should we do for a call to action? Right here. Oh, no, what should we do?
I like the bike ride one.
Oh, because we just used it. We got
I need to get some more because my bike is dirty.
Yes, we got back from Reno from the 1,500-mile trip.
I slaughtered 5,000 bugs.
Yes, get Bike Right, guys, in the Law Abiding Biker store. It's our wet wash solution. We rode in hail and rain. We're going to do episodes coming up. Anyways, lawabidingbiker.com/store. Get the Bike Right. It is tried, tested, our #1 go-to wet wash cleaner. Look forward to those episodes because we're going to do a 2-part series. We're probably going to do those live, and they'll come out in podcast, but we're going to do it on our Reno trip because it was phenomenal.
Pretty cool trip.
There's so much to talk about, guys. We're going to keep coming at you. We're going to keep pumping the content, and we do it because you guys support us. Don't forget, get signed up as a patron if you like this stuff. If you want it to keep coming, guys, that is our goal, is to grow that patron community and get you in that private Facebook group. And the more support we get there, the more stuff we throw together, because this was not an easy episode to throw together when we got late last night.
Yeah.
And then I cleaned camera gear because I did a documentary, and I was up till midnight, and kids to school, dog to the vet. I didn't have show notes ready. We knew kind of what we were going to talk about.
We just threw caution to the wind.
We just
jumped right
absolutely by the seat of our pants, and I hope that you guys appreciate that kind of work that we are putting in for you guys to fit this in between everything else that we're trying to do with Law Abiding Biker Media. So, all right, guys, God bless. Ride safe.